Do not use the neurodiversity movement as an excuse to be invalidating and promote toxic positivity. This is what I mean. Someone in my comment section is talking about how hard it is to be autistic, and they are being very honest about how they're feeling, because I created a video talking about how it's hard to be autistic as well. Fortunately, someone just replied, "Stop complaining." And we should be allowed to be honest about how we feel being neurodivergent without being hushed for it. And, I told this person that, people's feelings are valid, and, I don't want people to just tell people to stop complaining, because it's important to be honest about how we feel. And then basically they just say nope, because there's nothing wrong with being autistic, and this mindset helps justify people who don't want an inclusive society by saying it's a defect or something. No, it doesn't. We still need inclusion, even when it's difficult to live with. In fact, the more difficult it is to live with, the more we need inclusion. You can't just try to censor anyone who talks about their difficulties in the sense of creating inclusion, because in fact that's the least inclusive thing you can do. You're, not including people who need the most help. You're not including people who have higher support needs. For example, giving another example, Tourette's is disabling, it's hard to live with. When I was 12 years old, I put on my Christmas list that I wanted to get rid of Tourette's. At age 15, I was crying, yearning for a time when I'd grow out of it, and I didn't. It's a very hard thing to live with, and that is also a neurodivergent difference. But that doesn't mean that it's not difficult to live with, and that doesn't mean you should just silence anyone who talks about the difficulty. It's not harming people by talking about how hard it is. It's making people see why we need inclusion and why we need more support. They say that it hurts the rest of us who are autistic when autistic people talk about their difficulties, but how does it? Because when we talk about our difficulties, people are more likely to be understanding and give us the support and accommodations that we need. And, just pushing toxic positivity by saying, oh, we are promoting neurodiversity. No, things are hard to live with. And as well as focusing on the positives, we do need to focus on the difficulties as well. I can't say that everything about my neurological differences is positive, because it's not. It does come with struggles. Being autistic and not reading social cues is hard because you get misunderstood. And also difficulty with emotional regulation and having meltdowns can be very disabling, taking a huge emotional toll. So, please do not use the neurodiversity movement as an excuse for your toxic positivity or invalidation, because you're not helping the person by just telling people to stop complaining or telling them that they are contributing to a non-inclusive society by talking about the difficulties, because they are just being honest about their feelings, and you don't really have the right to silence people when they're just talking truthfully. Every autistic person is different. Some people aren't going to find it so hard, and other people are going to find it really hard, but we all deserve support and inclusion. We do need to talk about our struggles. We can't just act like they don't exist, because they do. And people have the right to be honest about how they're feeling. We can't always pretend that we're being positive or happy when we're not. I have seen something similar with this. I've known people to say that saying there should be a cure for OCD is ableist and against the neurodiversity movement, but I don't agree with that, because I had OCD and it was absolutely disabling, and I'm a lot happier now that I don't have OCD symptoms. My OCD prevented me from being able to dress myself, walk upstairs, walk over certain areas of the floor, and it took over 8 hours out of my day. I don't really want to just accept that. I really would like to change that. People use the neurodiversity movement as an excuse to say, just accept it, just accept the difficulties, be positive about it. But how could I accept that I was severely disabled and had no free time and no childhood, basically? But thankfully, I am free from the OCD symptoms now.